Hello everyone, myself Parishmita Sharma, and today I am going to start the topic the non-cooperation movement and Assam. So as we already discussed about non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement, Quit India movement under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi in the second chapter of your history book. And now see its impact, non-cooperation movement and its impact on Assam, or how the Assamese people joined this movement. Okay, so now see the non-cooperation movement started in 1920 and lasted for 2 years, and it was a major event, or we can say it was the first major event in the Indian struggle for independence under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. This movement was supported by Indian National Congress and almost all the states of India. So as we already discussed about the causes and programs of non-cooperation movement nationwide, now let's discuss the programs in Assam, or how Assam supported this movement. So at first, prominent leaders of Assam Association was not sure about joining the movement initially. Okay, a section of Assam Association felt to retain their own separate identity, and another section of the association felt the need of joining the mainstream politics or with Indian National Congress. Okay, and in 1921, after considerable debate, the Assam Association merged into the Assam Provincial Congress Committee and joined in the non-cooperation movement. Now let's see the programs or events in Assam during the non-cooperation movement. The non-cooperation movement in Assam reached its climax with a visit of Mahatma Gandhi to Assam in August 1921, and in all the meetings addressed by Mahatma Gandhi in major towns were attended by large section of people. And responding to the appeal of Mahatma Gandhi, Assamese people joined the movement, and by organizing huge bonfires of British goods or boycotting the British goods and boycotting the government educational institutions. Again, the lawyers left their legal practices and joined the movement, and again some national schools were opened. Again, major impact of the non-cooperation movement is vigorous anti-opium campaign and support of the tea garden laborers. Okay, so under the leadership of Sandranath Sharma, Hemachandra Barua, Amiya Kumar Das, Muhibuddin Ahmed, and the youth of Assam participated in the movement by boycotting government educational institutions. And lawyers like Nobin Chandra Bordoloi, Kuladhar Sholiha, Torunnam Phukon, Kamini Kumar, Sanda, Vishnuram Medhi left their legal practices of court and joined the movement. And many government officials of Assam and teachers also left their jobs and jumped into the non-cooperation movement. And in the other parts of India, in Assam also, national schools were opened. At first at Guwahati, Nalbari, then Jorhat, Tezpur, Sibsagar, Nagaon, Karimganj, and Maulvi Bazar. And the first national school, I told, that established at Guwahati in February 1921, and the school named as Tilak Memorial School in the memory of Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Again, one if we see, one of the major impacts of the non-cooperation movement in Assam was the vigorous anti-opium campaign, and which was led by the Congress workers or Congress leaders. And because of their efforts, there was a fall in opium consumption by the Assamese people. And if we take a look on the revenue which were collected from opium by the British government, fell from 1615 mounts in 1920 to 21 to 993 mounts in 1920 to 23. So the revenue earned from the selling of opium decreased by 19 lakhs rupees. Okay, and again another constructive works, and we see another constructive work was popularizing the use of khadi and increasing the production of khadi cloths. Okay, and as we know that the Assamese women use zotor, and Mahatma Gandhi actually inspired by this jotor in Assam. Okay, and in non-cooperation movement in Assam, the tea garden laborers also support this movement, and the large population of the tea garden laborers took the opportunity to raise their voice against the colonial exploitation on them. So in May 1921, around 8,000 laborers of 13 tea gardens of the Sargola and Longai Valley of Karimganj subdivision came together to protest against their colonial masters under the Congress leadership. And they demand a huge wage increase, and they gave slogans of Gandhi Maharaj Ki Jai. And actually Mahatma Gandhi supported these tea garden laborers, and the planters now started pressurizing the district administration to use force to bring them back, meaning the laborers back to their houses, okay, or to gardens, because they came out from the gardens and began to protest against the British exploitations. And in these classes, hundreds of laborers lost their lives, and others were forced back to their gardens. So though the non-cooperation movement was started with non-violence, but because of the growing atrocities of the British government, the people began to use force, okay, and it became violent later. So Mahatma Gandhi, we already knew the Sora movement, and because of the Sora movement, Mahatma Gandhi suspended this movement. Okay, now see civil disobedience movement and Assam. Now in 1930, Mahatma Gandhi launched civil disobedience movement to paralyze the British administration by performance of specific illegal acts. So on March 12, 1930, Gandhi along with 78 companions left the Sabarmati ashram and made their way to Dundee, sea coast of Dundee. And at Dundee, he and his followers, Mahatma Gandhi and his followers, broke the salt law by preparing salt illegally. So all these were already discussed in the second chapter. Now see in Assam. So in Assam, though the Congress leadership announced that the province was not ready for a mass movement or to join in the civil disobedience movement. But other leaders like Hemchandra Barua, M. Toyabullah, Vishnuram Medhi, Ambikagiri Rai Chaudhuri, etc. supported this movement. At the same time, the Congress committee in Assam was rejuvenated under the new leadership of Vishnuram Medhi, M. Toyabullah, and Ambikagiri Rai Chaudhuri. And the objectives of the new committee were such as to raise fund. So to raise fund for the Congress committee and to protest against the British government. Defiance of repressive laws and ordinances. So the opposition of repressive laws and ordinances. Boycott of the British goods and anti-opium and liquor campaign. So these are some objectives of the newly formed Congress committee. Now let's take a look on the student participation on civil disobedience movement. So one of the most prominent leaders of freedom movement, Omiyo Kumar Das, appealed to the students to join the movement. But at first the students showed little enthusiasm. However, to protest against the arrest of Nehru on 14 April and Gandhi on 5 May 1930, students participated in Hartal in a large number. And later, they boycotted their educational institutions and began to join the movement. Now, in May 1930, R.J. Cunningham, Director of Public Instruction, issued a circular asking students and their parents to provide written undertaking guaranteeing that the students would not participate in any kind of political activity. And this circular was popularly known as Cunningham Circular. But the students opposed the circular and it further spread the movement. And in civil disobedience movement, the associations like the Assam Chhatra Sammelan organized a special session at Guwahati to discuss its plan of action, and they decided to picket government institutions. And the students also joined in these picketings, and picketing was soon extended to the opium and liquor shops. And here the peasants too engaged in this movement and demanding the reduction of land revenue by 50%. As we know that earlier in 1890s the land revenue increased up to 100%. So and the forest laws were also violated in certain areas by the people of Assam. So thus the students, the peasants and the ordinary Assamese people joined this movement or stood against the British government. Okay. So now see Quit India movement and Assam. So Quit India movement, though the government or the British government suppressed this Quit India movement with an iron hand, but the movement had far-reaching impact. So like in other parts of India, Assam also took part in the Quit India movement. So by following the path of non-violent methods like hartals, processions, demonstrations and picketing, Assamese people joined into the movement. But the major Congress leaders were arrested and Assam Pradesh Congress Committee, the District Congress Committee and other subsidiary bodies were declared unlawful and or illegal. Public gatherings were banned by the British government. So at this, people began more infuriated and attacked government buildings, destroyed railway tracks and sabotaged the military supply lines. And these were happen regularly, particularly in Nagaon, Darong, Golaghat, Kamrup district. And in the government part, stern policies were taken to suppress this movement. So Kusal Kuar was hanged in connection with derailment of a train in Sarupathar. And see, he was the only martyr to be hanged in India during the Quit India movement. Okay, and police firing took place in Patacharkusi, Borpeta, Fakiragram, Gwalpara, Dhekiajuli, and Gohapur, both in Dorong districts, killed hundreds of people, including a 14-year-old girl. And you know the name of the girl, Kanaklata Borua of Gohapur. And if you see, the people at first in non-cooperation movement, in civil disobedience movement, in Quit India movement, they began to protest through the process of non-violence. Okay, but because of some repressive government policies, the people of India became violent and turned this movement into rebellion. So the Quit India movement actually turned into the rebellion, and it was genuinely a mass movement, bringing into it hundreds of thousands of ordinary Indians. And the British government also brutally repressed this mass phase of the struggle, and the major leaders of this movement were arrested till 1945, till the 1945 or the Second World War, the end of the Second World War. So some people like Jai Prakash Narayan in All India basis, Assam Joshi, Aruna Asaf Ali, Ram Manohar Lohia, Achyut Patwardhan, Sucheta Kripalini, and in Assam, Shankar Chandra Borua, Mahendranath Hajarika, Jyoti Prasad Agarwala, Lakshmi Prasad Goswami, Bajanath Sharma, Gahan Chandra Goswami, etc. consolidate underground activities. And by 1943, there were around 32 underground volunteer camps at Bazali alone. So, during this Quit India movement, parallel governments were formed, in a few rural areas in Assam, and village panchayats were established, and no revenue campaign was carried out. Picketing of liquor and opium shops were carried out, and but the movement was dominated by the government with enormous force, and many nationalists were disappointed that the Quit India movement had failed. But as we know, this movement was failed, but it had far-reaching impacts. This movement infused the nationalist feelings among the Indian masses. Students, women, peasants, and workers played an important role here. And this historic movement placed the demand for immediate end of the British rule. Okay. So after Quit India, there could be no retreat, and independence was no longer a matter of bargain. The Congress and the ordinary people of India directly demanded the independence of India under the British rule. So That's all for today's class. So in the next class we have to discuss Ministry of Gopinath Bordoloi, Assam Agriculture University, Guwahati University, Assam Medical College, and about to discuss the questions and answers. Okay, goodbye.